Well, hello out there. Welcome to another live stream here from Autocrit and an update for the Picture That Challenge. Yes, do I have a slide for that? There I go. Short story writing challenge. Now, if you're not familiar with Autocrit, we really are the home for authors. We have our fully functional writer's desk with a whole suite of tools to help you from your planning, your writing, your editing, your polishing, your publishing. It does everything. And then we it makes Julian fries too. And we have a community of wonderful authors like yourself. And we're always interacting. We have club events and member events and things like that. Another thing we love to do are these challenges. So the picture that writing challenge is a part of our YouTube stream where we go to the world, and this is open to everybody, not just Autocrit members, but anybody who wants to get involved. So if you want to get involved, feel free to sign up there below. It's multiple weeks where we are going to be giving you some, I don't know what you want to call them, creative hoops to jump through, perhaps. We began last week with a visual prompt. I'm sure a lot of you have already begun writing. I see here we have somebody who Vance has written 500 words. Fantastic. We do not make shaved ice just yet, but never rule things out. If it would help authors and we could figure it out, we would love to do it. I'm having fun with the storyline I've come up with. It's very versatile, so bring on the next twist. Fantastic. You have 1,000 words and a great story so far. All right. So, yes. So, feel free to go ahead, sign up, get involved. You can sign up for free. You don't have to be an Autocrit Pro member. And of course, by signing up, you become eligible for prizes. Yes, we are going to be doing a grab bag of prizes at the end of this month when we do our big finale. And by signing up, you make yourself eligible to receive a prize, perhaps, right? It's going to be a random draw. And of course, the winner of the challenge is going to receive a special prize. We are going to let the YouTube audience decide that, though. Yes, you get to decide who the winner is. We're going to read the finalists here on our YouTube channel, and then our live studio audience, as it were, is going to pick the grand winner. So, what are the rules? If you don't remember them from last week, no longer than 2,000 words. You can go up to 2,000 words. In terms of how short can it be? Well, I can't imagine a 5-word entry is going to make the finals, but your mileage may vary, right? If you can really impress us, perhaps. But yes, make sure you give yourself enough word count to get us across a clear narrative of some sort. And yes, we are looking for a narrative. Don't write just anything. Don't give us self-help or meditation techniques. Not that that wouldn't be helpful, but it won't make you get to the finalists. And it does need to incorporate the prompt. Now, what does that mean, incorporate a prompt? Well, it's a little bit loose because this is a creative inspiration challenge. So, if you don't want to utilize this is particularly maybe true today. You don't want to utilize it exactly. Like let's imagine there was an image and it's of a strawberry. And you're like, I don't really want to actually just write a strawberry into my story. Well, you could get inspiration from it in all different kinds of ways. You could say something that's like a red fruit. You could speak to how somebody feels. Maybe they remind you of a strawberry or you smell of strawberries or something like that versus actually including the item. You know, you get to decide how it inspires you. We, of course, are going to be looking for writers who do a great job of using the inspiration. But to be honest, you can go pretty hog wild with this. When we think of brainstorming techniques as an author, we think of looking at random Wikipedia articles or random images and stuff, and just getting emotions, getting evoking something within you. Sure. So you give yourself some wiggle room to be inspired, and I think you'll be in great shape there. All right, just catching up with the comments here. The murder occurred in the strawberry room. Exactly. Exactly. All different kinds of things. The earth is cooking and the extraterrestrials have us for dinner. I'm not sure if that's their story or if they're commenting on the climate right now, which is rather warm if you're in the United States specifically. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. It could be any genre. So if you write historical fiction, if you write women's fiction, if you write literary fiction, if you write mystery, if you write horror, whatever you want, all y'all come get involved, right? We are not going to there's really no reason why any of the image prompts should force you into a genre in the first place. And yeah, we are open to anyone, as long as you can write effectively. Nope, you haven't missed it yet. We did reveal the first prompt last week, but we have not revealed the twist yet. That is coming. That is coming. Remember, whatever you submit will be read on YouTube, so keep that in mind. We aren't super, I mean, we support artists, the writer's desk. It's like, write what you want. We're not here to tell you what to write about. But for the sake of YouTube, think of things like criminal behavior, sexual violence, things like that. Yeah, we're going to steer away from things like that. So, you could maybe say a soft R rating if this was a movie or something like that. If you are worried about your content and you're like, I want to go there, but will that eliminate my chances of getting into the final? You can go ahead and just hit that little bubble. You'll find it anywhere within the writer's desk or anywhere on Autocrit, and just ask us. We're more than happy to answer whether or not that's content that's a little bit more extreme than what we would like to read on YouTube. Let us know. Yeah, absolutely. But in general, we don't have to eliminate too much based on that. Mostly everybody is within the. I think what we're looking for there. You're gonna need to submit by July 28th. So not too much longer. So certainly hope you have started on your work. You're gonna get some interesting developments this week. I'll just put it that way. I'm very teasy, aren't I? It's always. Yeah. You're going to get some elements to work with, perhaps. And so, yeah, please get going. Don't wait until the 11th hour in order to submit. You might miss it, and then you won't be eligible for the finals either. And yes, there will be a twist shortcoming. So, what was the initial prompt? This was. This was the initial prompt we gave you last week. So, if you are coming in and this is the first time that you've ever seen me or seen the prompt, you may want to pause and go ahead and start writing before you see the next twist, because you're going to kind of recapture the experience of all of the other authors. Now, granted, you could always wait and write as we go and wait until the end. Yeah. But the point of the challenge is to train you on nimbleness, artistic nimbleness, creative nimbleness. How do you ebb and flow based on different ideas that could come to your head or inspiring things around you? It can be helpful to allow yourself to go a little bit crazy and paint outside the lines. You can always edit later, right? So that's one reason why we gave you a rather, I would say, interesting image to start from. You get to pick. Do you want to take it very literally? Do you want to take it as some sort of metaphor? Do you want to take it abstract? It's up to you. It's up to you. Yes, autocrit I'm reading my own post. Submissions are not yet open. Correct. They will open after the remaining prompts are revealed. The last session before the final next week, we'll be giving you information and we will show you how you can submit at that point. All right. So, one thing you can ask yourself when it comes to these visual prompts, like you might be wondering, how in the world do I get inspired by these random pictures you're throwing out there? Like, what are you even doing? Okay, so there's a couple of ways that you can get inspired. Who might own something like that? Who might be involved in something like that? If it's of an object or a location or things like that, how does it belong to somebody? How does, somebody finds it endearing or part of their life? Who would be the kind of person, right? Start using it as a way to build up character. I'm very good at revealing information, Tim, as you are aware. What sort of situation might it belong in? In other words, And this is kind of the obvious question. Why might this be the case? Especially if it's something a little bit unusual, like that first image. Why might that happen? Right? And then, justify it. One thing that really helps, and I talked about this last week, is having the attitude of an improv actor or an improv comedian, right? What they often tell you if you've ever taken improvisational class is you want to add, you do not want to stop. If you stop things, you hurt everybody else around you. In other words, you don't generally say no, you say yes and, right? I'm going to add to it. I'm going to ask more questions, which gets me deeper into it. But I'm not going to say, nah, that's a bad idea. Let's go this way, unless I'm going to be pivoting it in some strong direction. And so, as an author and as an artist, it can behoove you to, instead of being like, well, that's an interesting idea, but I just don't know how I would do it. No, instead you just say, no, I am going to do it. I'm going to just kind of force myself. I'm going to say, that is the most amazing idea I've ever heard in my entire life. How do I make that work? Right? How can that apply? Especially if it captures your imagination at all, right? If there's something about it and you're like, okay, that seems a little silly. I don't know how I can make that work. Don't drop that. You got your interest, because the silliness might go away, right? Whatever you think is silly or contrived or stupid about it might go away if you force yourself into saying, I'm going to do it. I am going to make it work. Come, the flood is going to come and I'm going to stay ahead of it. Yeah. Try it. Try it, because again, you can always edit later. You should give yourself the license to fail in a big way, because that's the only way that you will have big success, in my opinion. Creatively. All right. What is at stake? In other words, why might I care about this image, right? What does it represent, that could be a problem or a conflict or an obstacle to overcome or something like that? Don't necessarily take it at face value. If I gave you a picture that was just a beautiful place, well, then what's at stake? You could say, well, it's beautiful. How long will it be beautiful? What might threaten the beauty of this place? Et cetera, right? You need to ask yourself, uh, the question of, it's kind of back to, who owns this place, who might it belong to, or things like that. But yes, what is there to be concerned about from a conflict standpoint, right? What could potentially be going wrong? What could potentially be a problem? What might be, have emotional underpinnings to it? And what emotions does it evoke in you? How does it make you feel? I feel like a psychiatrist here. Look at this ink blot. No, but no, but essentially that's what you're asking yourself. If you find it intriguing, right? Obviously, for the sake of this challenge, I have forced you into this. I have ripped you from your chair. Thanks to me, yes, you're going to get some work done. But I have forced you from your chair and I've put an image and I've said, you will make this work, right? Generally, when you're going to find inspiration out there in the world, what you're going to do is, you're going to have an image come to mind, or an image is going to stand out and go like, I'm attracted to this. I find it interesting. I find it compelling. Maybe you don't even like it. You find it horrible, but you just can't look away. It's a train wreck, right? It's not necessarily positive. But what you want to know is, what emotions does it invoke, and how can you get that across to the audience? And maybe it's a lot more about the emotions it's invoking than the specifics of the image. I can think of our horror expert we've had on here, Gareth, who talks about, when you write about fears and phobias, you don't generally want to just be on the nose and be like, well, they're afraid of heights, and so therefore they're going to be in a high place. It's more of like, what does that represent? Maybe it represents the fear of falling, off a great height. It represents, precarious construction or things like that. And then it's like, how can I exploit it? How can I take it this step further? So, ask yourself that when you see an image and it gives you a certain emotional response. Ask yourself, how can you invoke that in the audience? And it might not even be by describing what's in the image. It might be by taking it further and being inspired by it, and going the step beyond. All right. Start talking about it. You know me, I like to talk, but talk to yourself about it. Talk in your inner voice. That's what artists do, because we're all a little bit mad. They say that brilliant people talk to themselves, right? Or is that just something that people make up? I don't know. I'll believe it. I want to believe. I want to believe. But yeah, start talking about it. Just start asking questions of yourself, similar to the why do I find this so attractive or interesting or arresting? Just start just start talking about it. Just kind of force yourself to write about it. Write about what it is. What do you see? What could it be? What might it also be? Things like that, right? Just start spewing. It's it's not going to be necessarily beautiful or attractive or anything you'd want anyone to read, but it's just clearing your mind. It is getting words on the page. It is helping you brainstorm. It's like word association, right? What is anything that you can think about when it comes to this image? You just start typing. Just let yourself go. Again, we can always pull back, edit, all of those things, right? Let yourself go a little mad. Nobody is has to see this. You get to be your own crazy self, right? And maybe you will want people to see it because it'll be really fun and awesome. How do you know, right? Don't do that. I mean, don't hold yourself back. Please let yourself go. All right. You got 1,600 words done, reserving the rest for the twist. Thank you. Apparently, Batman's joining you there. I like that. When my kids tell me I'm talking to myself again, I simply tell them I'm having a staff meeting. I love that. That's fantastic. Constantly speaking to myself, what knowledge I've imparted is questionable. Yeah, right. But when it comes to creatively, I don't know. I wouldn't question it too much. I think, yeah, that's a winning strategy if you ask me. All right, so that brings us to our second prompt, right? So we've got our first one. You all saw it. You can always go back and take another look at it. You can also, you should be getting it in your email. If you haven't, just let us know. But yeah, you should be getting email updates as well with these images. But before I reveal the second prompt, because you knew I was going to do that, I'd like to talk about some upcoming events we have coming in Autocrit. So one of the things that we have coming up tonight, the major events, is the book series writing course. Yes, that's brought to you by me, and we also have material from the author Rain Hall, author of the Writer's Craft series. Great material about writing a book series. We're asked about this all the time. How do I take my standalone novel and turn it into a whole collection of books, series of books? What about how do I make each book stand on its own? Does each book need to stand on its own? What about if I'm writing a mystery versus romance? We're going to discuss it all. We're here for everyone. And we're going to discuss how to organize and think about book series. We also have Story Sculptor. Yes, Story Sculptor is where we take your first draft. I talked about how, it doesn't have to be good, it just has to exist and you just spew things onto a page. That might be what your first draft looks like. Some people write really messy first drafts. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Nobody has to see that. You can come create a polished gem from that messy first draft. And Story Sculptor is here to show you all the steps along the way. Finally, for those of you who are Autocrit Pro members, tonight at 7 p.m., join me for Mystery Story Reading 5000. Yeah, you might see what I'm kind of playing off of there, right? But yeah, we go through the back alleys of Amazon looking for books that are not selling all that well. Maybe they just aren't getting much traction. So why aren't they? Well, they're usually not particularly great, but from reading them, we can have a little bit of fun because they can be entertainingly not excellent. But also, you can learn some tips and tricks yourself about what you might want to avoid, right? As much as we like to show examples of bad writing, it can be helpful to see them out in the wild. So I recommend checking it out. You really never know what's going to happen. I don't really vet them a lot in advance, so I get to be surprised. So it's like a whole live reaction thing. Uh, it's good. It's really fun. Yeah, Paige or Brandy says it's always a good time. It is. And then tomorrow we have Hook 'em Live. So if you'd like to get involved in this, make sure you go into the calendar on the homepage of Autocrit and sign up because uh, that's how you become part of these sessions. We look at your opening line of your book and we tell you, does it hook us or not? Are we intrigued or not? And things like that. You're asking if the series course is something that we offer recordings of. We certainly do. It will be every evening, not every evening, every Tuesday evening for the next 4 weeks at 6 p.m. Eastern. But you can check out the recordings at any time. And then there are additional materials, there's additional written materials that come with it that you can, excuse me, peruse at your leisure. And once the course is over, you have access to the material as long as you want. It's just for you. All right. So, that being said, we have Autocrit 101. That's our ongoing series that teach you how to use our writer's desk and how to get the most out of it for everything that you do when it comes to writing a book. And we're going to be discussing line editing. That's on Saturday. Okay. So the second prompt. Yeah. So for the second prompt, I just want to let you know you're going to have a choice. I'm not forcing you into one option. There are going to be multiple pictures. You get to decide, do you use one of these pictures? Do you use all of these pictures? Right? I didn't want to completely paint you into a corner. Not to mention, part of being creatively nimble is knowing where to get inspiration actually from, right? So it's part of the challenge. So you get to decide which of the following image prompts you're going to incorporate. You can incorporate all or none of them, and in any way that you want. All right. I know we're giving you a lot of flexibility with the challenge. Not quite as much as some of our short story challenges where we just tell you to write whatever, but flexibility. Okay. Ready for the pictures? Picture number one. I'll let you just think about that for a moment. Yes. Very intriguing, don't you think? Hmm. All right. Picture number two. I'm just not. I still have so many things I'd like to say about the pictures, but I don't want to. I don't want to influence you. I want you to think about it. And what are you going to get out of it? What do you even see? There's multiple possibilities in terms of what you're even looking at, right? Okay. Picture number three. I'm getting the comments about them. I'm not going to be able to answer anything because this is just all I can tell you is what the picture is. It's this. You're like, "What is it?" I don't know. What is it? You tell me, right? That's the point. How does it inspire you? What do you see in it and things like that. So, take a look at those. You get to decide. We're going to be sending out an email in a little bit here with them. So if you are if you want to have them as a reference, feel free to do so. Like I said, you can incorporate one, two, three, all of them. It's up to you. You get to decide. Try to incorporate all four of them. That's quite a challenge. It's up to you. I want to give you some options. So I certainly hope that you are inspired or at least intrigued, right? Wanted to give you some interesting pictures, provocative images to go off of. Yes, they will come in an email as well. Just expect that shortly. And yes, that brings us full circle. If you're saying, how about none? Well, if you ignore all of the pictures and you just happen to write a fantastic short story under 2,000 words this month, I still consider that a big win for you. Oh, somebody's saying you don't have to use the first one. No, no, no. You do need to use the first one. I'm saying of the next batch you get to pick. No, no, no. You still have to keep the first one. Ha ha ha. It's not the first one or one or you have to use some of the additional ones, at least one. I'm saying you can use one, two, or three of the additional ones, not the original ones. So we have to have at least two. I'll make that clear, okay, since that wasn't quite completely clear. You have to use at least two. The first one and any of these additional ones, one or all of them. It's really up to you, or two of them, whatever you would like to do. Um, Interesting, interesting. We're getting different things here in terms of what's being inspired. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna throw some of those comments out there. Okay. Yes, but if you don't want to use any of them at all and just write a great short story, I still consider that a win. However, when it comes to the judging for the finalists, yes, of course, we're going to look at, if we can figure out that you were inspired by anything in this challenge, right? I'm not expecting you to do a direct lift to directly reference it, but it needs to at least be clear enough to somebody that you were inspired by whatever it was that we showed you. We need to see at least some connection to it. And trust me, I'm quite an abstract thinker. I will be looking and I will be trying to find any sort of connection that I can. So you don't have to be super on the nose, but we are looking for that. And of course, that is the spirit of the challenge. If you want to just get some great writing done, that's awesome. We're always just about writing for the sake of writing, but for the sake of this challenge, yes, be inspired by the images, incorporate them into your writing in a creative manner. I understand it's a little bit loose and abstract, but again, that's the purpose of the challenge. The challenge is to give you inspiration, not to completely tie your hands and, make things too spelled out for you as well. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. It's very philosophical, I suppose. I would say, though, if you choose to not have decided, then that means you're using all of them because otherwise you would have chosen one, right? All right. Will somebody tell Paige what they think the last picture represents? I don't know. You get to decide, right? Anyway, I will see you all next week for the next and final update before we start opening up submissions. So I certainly hope you've been having a great time. I've been having a great time. If you have any sort of feedback or comments on challenges and what you would like to see in the future, and what you would like to see from Autocrit in general, how we can help you as authors, please let us know. I saw there was a comment just recently about help writing groups and trying to learn more from writing partners. And I thought that was great. So, we always look for ideas like that, and it helps us develop what kind of member events we're going to have, what kind of YouTube streams we're going to have, all of those sort of things. Will there be more twists or will this be the last one? There is something coming at the very end, so just be prepared. That's all I'm going to say on that. All right. The due date is going to be July 28th. All right. Well, thanks again for joining us. We'll see you around Autocrit. Maybe I'll see you in a little while. In about 30 minutes, we do our open office session where you can come in and you can ask us questions. So if you're an Autocrit Pro member, go ahead and check that out. And I also maybe will see you tonight at our Mystery Story Reading 5000. That's going to be a lot of fun. Otherwise, I'll see you around Autocrit. Bye, everyone.